I noticed that there were a lack of resources from just my peers within the encampment. So like stuff I'm doing now is really providing that platform for people. So for example, I went back to school and I started the Multicultural Student Union, but like as an alum at Williston, I now kind of am really pushing the headmasters to, hire a diversity recruiter, to hire a person to work within admissions, and fixing curriculum and things of that nature. So I'm still fighting as usual. Within Elon, I started the Underrepresented Business Students Alliance Network. So I'm creating opportunities through internships and job opportunities for students who are first gen, low income, because that's an issue that I struggled with as well. And I want them to be successful through the corporate world, and other Fortune 500 companies. And then, through my work at Microsoft, they're really focused on, community outreach within the real estate sector. So making sure there's diverse suppliers is something I'm really pushing. So I think like the work that I've learned from the encampment is something that I've been able to push in every aspect of my life so far.
One thing that I want people to know about the encampment is that the encampment isn't just within itself. It's out in the community. It's active, and it's constantly trying to make sure that the people in the community have a voice.
One way that encampment had a lasting impact on me was definitely like during this last year, my junior year. I started a lot of things within my school. I joined the Diversity and Accountability Board, which is like a new organization within the school that handles affinity spaces and just trying to make sure the school is a safe space for every person within the space. And then also I created the Ujima community, which is kind of like for young or people who identify as young Black males or people of color. And it's kind of for us to kind of have a space to be safe and share experiences, because I saw there wasn't really much representation within our school. And I think without encampment, I definitely wouldn't have had the confidence to build that community and join these spaces that I don't know, I might not have been comfortable with beforehand.
It's been very eye-opening. And so I'm from San Francisco, and I feel like I kind of live in a bubble, and it's like extremely progressive, or at least from the outside. And coming here and listening to everybody's experiences and what they've been through in their lives and their passions it's shown me a new way to look at the world and how to embrace where people are coming, and it's taught me where to meet people where they are.
I believe the encampment is important to a lot of people who stand up for something. I'm well known in my community, and when we have an issue or something, they usually come to me and we start a petition about something. So the encampment has helped me with a lot of strategies I could use for it and a stronger voice in my community.
But my first taste at actually applying myself to some kind of social justice was in the encampment. We went up to DC and sat down with the DOJ, and we had a focus group meeting that talked about the problems in our communities. And so everybody had different problems in their communities, and we all got to share that and try to advocate for something and feel like our voices were heard as like 16-year-olds. Now I'm a sociology major at Sacramento State in my senior year. And my whole focus has been honing my skills and getting education based on how I can give back to the communities and, youth that look like me. And I've applied it. So I've been working with the Children's Defense Fund to try to bridge. And what we do is we try to bridge the gap, the literacy gap between middle class and lower class underrepresented youth, normally predominantly Black and Mexican youth. And a lot of that stems from my experience of my voice being heard in my first experience partaking in social justice at the encampment.
During the time that I was an undergrad, I started to do more leadership programs and building skills and opportunities for students. So I really took kind of the message from the encampment about like youth leadership and took that to heart. I feel like when coming back from the encampment, I started a Gay Straight Alliance, which is still like outdated now, I feel like in society. So it's kind of like cute to think back, like only 5 years ago, we thought that was like revolutionary. And I felt like I was doing the work in my community within the Boys and Girls Club to kind of defeat in a way, or at least address like classism and resource scarcity. Currently now, fast forward, I have my degree. I'm working on my second degree for higher education administration. I've worked for access programs such as TRIO, Student Support Services for low-income first generation and students with disabilities. I've worked at a Pride Center for the past year and created affinity spaces for Black and queer youth. And I currently work at a women's center.
The encampment has taught me so many things. I've learned from each and every person here. It's taught me that no matter how different you are, we can come together and find something to work with. I've learned that it's not all happy, but we've come together and we've had trials, but we've made a difference together.
The encampment has taught me the importance of community activism because I am very aware of like the political climate, like nationwide. However, like just being here made me realize I don't know the councilman who's representing me. I don't know the people who are representing me and the people in my neighborhood. And my mother doesn't know, and there are a lot of people like in my neighborhood don't know. So like just like on the basic like local level, there are people speaking for us without us knowing who's actually speaking for us and without our actual input.
I flew many states away from my house, and so when I arrived, it was something that was very special and it was something very different. The topics really were new to me because a lot of the topics were taught in school, but not to the extent and the depth of the encampment, the way the encampment taught and spoke about these topics like discrimination.
I think that the encampment is important because it connects kids from all sorts of different backgrounds, socioeconomically, racially, etc. And it also opens your eyes to so many issues in the world that while you might have learned about them in school, you've never really seen firsthand. And it really gives you a deeper understanding of the ways in which our society needs to change, needs to fix itself.
So I've learned a lot about Mississippi history and the legacies of slavery, sharecropping, mass incarceration, convict leasing, a lot of the current issues that still face communities in Mississippi, as well as the culture and the language and people of the Choctaw Nation.
The encampment has taught me how to express my opinions to people who don't necessarily feel the same way without yelling or getting frustrated with them.
What the encampment taught me is that my voice matters and it does have an impact whether I see it immediately or not, and that I'm a leader. I don't necessarily always have to be the loudest person or have the biggest presence, that like I can lead in my own way, and it's unique to me.